Hello everyone, welcome back, and we've got a blockbuster for you here today. This is Bill with the Nintendo Super Power Club Challenge channel once again, NSPCCC. Today we have what is, in my honest opinion, one of, if not the best games in the entire collection, and certainly the best of the remaining incomplete challenges. This is Super Metroid on the Super NES, and this is card 121 in the collection. You know, if you've ever owned or played a Super NES and you've never played this game, I don't know what to tell you. You must have been living under a rock because, as I've said before, it's one of the greatest games on the system, bar none. Why it's taken me this long to get to the challenge? Not because it's a bad game, not because it's a bad challenge, it's just a very long challenge. And you'll see what I mean when we get into this here. Let's dive in and let's get right to it. Well, speedrunners rejoice, this challenge was made just for you. Take a look. How fast can you finish the game? On Pro, you gotta do it in under 2 hours with over 15% of the items. Now, just a heads up, unless you do the glitched speedrun, I don't think it's possible to finish this game with less than 15% of the items. I've seen people do it with like 30 to 40% somewhere in there and get under that time limit, but yeah, unless you're a glitcher, that's not something you have to worry about here. As far as finishing under 2 hours, it's definitely achievable, and as I'm sure many people know, there's 3 different endings for beating the game under various times. The best one, of course, is under 2 hours, probably even a little bit more than that. But anyway, in order to do it, it's not as difficult nowadays as it was back in the day, 1994. You're going to see it's still pretty tricky. You need to make sure you get the right amount of energy tanks, missiles, etc., weapons, because if you don't, unless you're a speedrunner or you know this game inside and out, this is still going to prove to be a challenge for quite a few people out there. We're going to show you exactly how many energy tanks to get, which ones to get, what you can pick up, what you can skip, all that lovely stuff here. This video has been made for the average gamer in order to complete this challenge, so please bear in mind this is not going to be an ideal video to watch for speedrunning. There are some mistakes in here, there are some instances where I forget where to go. So if you're looking for a perfect speedrun, I encourage you to seek out all the Super Metroid gods out there, because as good as I am at some games, this is not one that is in my wheelhouse, so to speak. But I'm still okay at it, and I'm good enough to get the challenge done. So sit back, relax, and enjoy a great run here with Super Metroid. Here we go. Alright, let's get cracking here. So first things first, obviously, if you have a game save, get rid of it and then set up your control scheme. I typically like to go with Y for shooting and B for jumping. However, you can do whatever you like. It's really up to you. And then go ahead and start the game. As for the introduction, although it's great and all, we're going to go ahead and skip through it because we're not here for the story, we're here for the gameplay and beating it in under 2 hours. So watch it if you like, slow it down if you must, but that's not why we're here. And there we go, we're going to start off at the Sears Space Station. So this is an introduction to the game, obviously, very, very simple, just move left and right. Move yourself all the way to the end. Honestly, this is nothing that anybody cannot get through. I don't think I've ever seen anyone not complete Sears Station. Although I'm sure it has happened somewhere, but it's not going to happen here, I can tell you that. So just keep on zooming all the way down to the end where we're going to fight Ridley, and obviously we're not going to beat him, but we're going to get through him, and we're going to get on to the main part of the game here. So obviously this is just something we have to sit through and watch, or do we? Do we? I could skip it, but let's go ahead and play through it. Alright, as far as time strategy, there really isn't nothing I can tell you here other than to get hit by his tail. The tail will do more damage than simply touching Ridley's body, so if you can, try to ensure that you get hit by the tail, although honestly, we're talking about splitting hairs at this point. If you're a speedrunner looking for world records, then yes, it matters where you get hit and how quickly you get hit by him. Here, we're talking about seconds, and it's not that big of a deal. You're going to see when I complete this run, we get done well under 2 hours, and it's not anywhere close to having to worry here. There are other techniques you can use to save seconds here and there, but again, mostly they are used for speedrunners, and the techniques I would talk about, such as arm pumping, if you're familiar with that, which is hitting L and R continuously to move your arms up and down. If you do it religiously throughout the course of the entire game, you're going to save about 6 whole seconds throughout the entire game. So trust me, it's not worth it here. We're not going to come anywhere close to the 2-hour time limit, and 6 seconds is not going to kill us either way. So basically just make your way out of Sears Station, avoid the steam, and there we are, about 38 seconds left on the clock, which is about average, but nothing to really concern ourselves with either way. So there we are, out of there onto Planet Zebes, and we're going to go ahead and speed through the cutscene because we've seen it a million times. As we get out of the spaceship, in case you have forgotten how to play this game or haven't played it in a long time, go ahead and zoom over to the left and shoot, and here we are. We're now into Planet Zebes. We're going to go all the way over to the left, and there will be a hole in the floor, and that's where we're going to take our first major exploration dive in this planet here. Basically, what we're looking to do is collect basic equipment and weapons in order to traverse through this world and complete the bosses and get through to Mother Brain. And there we go. So as you're going down this, hold over to the right side of the wall, count 6 or 7 platforms, go back over to the left to avoid that, and here we are through the door. There's the old Mother Brain remains, so to speak. Jump on through these platforms, nothing you haven't seen a million times before in the original Metroid, and you're going to see a lot of platforming here in this game, in case you've never played it before. I assume that you have, or you wouldn't be here trying to speedrun it, but I digress. Here we are going down into this tunnel elevator. We are now into classic NES Metroid. We're going to go over to the left, just as we would in the original game. And we're going to get the morphing ball. And in case you've forgotten what the morphing ball does, it lets you morph into a ball. Duck all the way down, hit down twice, and that's exactly what you're going to do. Now, unfortunately, you can't use any weapons down here until you collect the bombs a little bit later in the game. But we're going to keep on moving right and blast through these platforms here, shoot on down, and we're going to collect our very first missile pickups all the way down here. As we go through this door, you're going to see that the missile pickup is sitting right here on the chorizo, or chorizo, whatever you want to call it. Every time you pick up a missile upgrade from here on in, it's going to grant you 5 extra missiles, so do remember that. Go back on through, you're going to go back up the way you came, and you could go left, but we're going to opt to go right this time because we're going to try to pick up some more missiles here. We might as well, because we're talking about seconds here. It's not going to cost us a big chunk of time that will make us miss the 2-hour mark. So keep on moving over to the right, over and down. You're going to see those little eyes that spot you, whatever. There's your second missile pickup. Now, I will point out that there is an energy tank that you could get up in the ceiling, but it requires 3 frame-perfect jumps. It's nearly impossible unless you are a god at this game, which I am not. And we don't need it anyway. There are other energy tanks that we can get much, much easier along the way. So we're just going to skip that one. And we're going to continue on up back the way that we came through this elevator here. So nothing too complicated at this point. We have the morphing ball. We have 10 missiles. And that's all we got to really worry about right now. So we're going to continue to go back the way we came through old classic Metroid and Mother Brain's remains. You're going to have your first Metroids here. They can be killed very simply with regular shots. You could use missiles, but why would you want to? You're going to want to save them for an upcoming sub-boss in just a little bit. So we're going to keep moving up the shaft here, and the traditional way of doing this is the way that you're seeing right here. Just jump up the platforms as you see. Now you could spin jump like that, but I find in my experience that spin jumping is a lot more costly, and if you don't know how to handle the controls, it's going to cost you in accuracy, and it's going to make you fall back down the shaft much, much easier. So if you're not very good with the controls, or you just don't want to chance it, just jump up like I'm doing, and that's all you have to worry about. Now, if you're really good with the controls and you know how to wall jump, feel free to wall jump all the way up the shaft here, and that's going to save you a lot of time. It's not so much where you have to worry about missing the 2-hour mark, but again, if you're a speedrunner, it is something that you could do. But assuming you are an average gamer with average skills, then don't worry about it. Just go up the shaft, normal speed. I promise you, it's not going to cost you as much time where you're going to fail the challenge here. So just keep jumping up, and you're going to go back over to the right, and you're going to acquire another basic item that you're going to need throughout the majority of this game. You probably know what it is. But as we go through here, this is a good time to practice the arm pumping if you wanted to see how a speedrunner really does it here, which we are not going to do. And right over here we have our next item pickup. This is the bomb. The bomb is quintessential for Samus in this and pretty much any game that she's ever starred in. But before we can get out of here, we have our first little mini boss we got to take care of here. And this statue is going to come to life. Anywhere between 5 to 10 missiles will do it, and even if you run out of missiles, you can very easily get more from the eggs it's going to shoot out here. So blast 2 or 3 into it, and then fire the rest into the boss here. Eventually, you're going to see it's going to die, but just keep on shooting at it. A very simplistic boss. I don't think in all my years of playing this game I have ever died here, and I don't know of anybody who's ever died here, honestly. Just keep on shooting, shooting, shooting. Eventually it's going to go down, and you will pick up the missiles and the health upgrades and the pickups that you would have lost through this boss. And it's the same story for any other boss fight in this game. So once you get all the pickups, and you have your bombs, go ahead and get out of here. And you're going to come back up the way that you came. And eventually we're going to head over to the left. If you want to practice your wall jumping, I suppose that's an area where you could do it. You don't have to worry about wall jumping just yet. There are some occasions where I will demonstrate it and show you where it is useful, because it will help save you some time, quite a few minutes actually, in certain areas. So wall jumping will be useful, just not yet. We're going to keep on moving over to the left. We're going to run down this shaft. You can keep on shooting as you're running. If you take a few hits, not a big deal, because as you're going to see, there's our first energy tank. Every time you pick up an energy tank, it's going to add an extra 99 units of health to your life total, and it's going to also fill your life to the max every time that you get one. So don't worry if you're low on health. As you go through here, the only way you can kill these enemies at the moment is with missiles, so you can opt to run through them, or you can just shoot a missile and then pick up whatever they leave behind. I opt to do that. And we're going to keep on moving over to the left, just keep on running. Try not to shoot those things because they will have little giblets or whatever they are jump out of them. So just run through that enemy area without shooting a shot and go down the next elevator. We are now entering Brinstar. This is the first real, I wouldn't say challenge, but first area of the game that is new to unfamiliar fans of the series. And the first time you're going to encounter any kind of a challenge whatsoever, I would say. So we're going to move down here. Make sure that you go through these pink doors with at least 5 missiles. And this is an unfortunate instance where I did not have 5 missiles and I had to waste time recouping and getting an extra missile here. And I take some unfortunate hits. This is not something that I typically do whenever I run this game, but it does happen from time to time. And if it happens to you, it's not going to cost you a whole lot of time, so don't worry about it. Now that we have our 5 missiles, go on through, and you're not going to be able to get through that area without the speed booster, but that's not why we're coming in here. We're coming here for the extra 5 missiles. Get all the missile pickups that you possibly can along the way without deviating from your main course. I will tell you there was at least 1 or 2 that we've already skipped over on the way to this point, but it's okay, don't worry, we're only getting the ones that we need to get at this point. So right now we've got about 15. Go ahead and blast through this door on the right. And it's going to take us to a section which will lead us to the next part of the game, including some gun upgrades and another sub-boss. Now, the sub-boss that I'm talking about, Spore Spawn, can be skipped if you're speedrunning the game, but here, not that much of a deal. So don't worry about it. We are going to face him. It's not going to hurt us. I think it's like a few minute fight, whatever. Very simple, and it gives you a super missile upgrade for beating it, which is absolutely useful to have because we're not going to be getting too many super missile upgrades throughout the course of this run. So just take the one that they give you for free through this little sub-boss fight here. Blast through the pink door. Now this section right here, you're going to have some bee wasp enemy mutants here. One regular missile will take them out, and it's advised if you have one to go ahead and use it on it. If you don't, not a big deal, but if you have missiles, certainly use them to make your life much easier here. You're going to have 3 of them, take them out, and then go through this door right up here, and you're going to have your next sub-boss, which as I mentioned earlier, is Spore Spawn. Now, how does it work? Basically, you're going to have these little spores coming down from the ceiling here. Every one that you shoot, most times, is going to give you either health refills or missile refills. Get as many missiles as you can. Health is not that big of a deal because if you have any kind of a brain stem whatsoever, you can see very easily, just crouch down into a morphing ball right there in the bottom left or bottom right, and Samus will not take any damage whatsoever. It is extremely simple. You're going to see me doing the exact same thing here for basically the majority of the fight. I'm only going to deviate a couple of times to pick up some health every now and then. Beyond that, it's really simple. So we're just going to skip through this, and we'll see you at the end of this fight. Okay, we come out of hyperdrive there, 1 more missile right in the mouth, and boom! We are done with him. One of the easiest boss fights you're ever going to have next to the very first one. So take it down, pick up the energy and missiles if you need them, and then jump all the way up. If you're good at wall jumping, feel free to do it. Actually, you can't do it there because of that platform, and I attempted to do it and failed epically. So we're going to continue to move forward here. Use this spawn point on enemies to refill energy and missiles if you want. If not, just go down here and wait for a very exceedingly extended long drop into the abyss. And we're going to come up with our very first super missiles, and these are critical and crucial to a number of later boss fights in the game, particularly with Mother Brain and Ridley toward the very end. But that's for another time, a little bit later in this video. We're going to continue on forward here. Make sure you switch over to the super missiles. By the way, make sure you have at least 2, one for that door and one for this door. Not really a door, but oh, don't do what I just did. Thankfully, I had an extra one. Because you're going to see, you need a few to get through this next section here. Otherwise, you got to waste time going back and getting more of them. There's another free missile upgrade pickup to get. Now, coming up here is the charge beam. You can opt to skip it if you want, although it's going to make a lot, if not all of the upcoming boss fights extremely easier, so I would highly recommend picking it up here. It's along the way anyway, and it only takes a few seconds to get, so I think it's exceedingly foolish not to pick it up. So we get it. By the way, you can use a power bomb blast to go right through the bottom there to get something else. Obviously, we don't have the power bomb, so we're going to forget about that. Move on forward. Again, make sure you have the extra super missile there, or you got to backtrack. We're going to keep on moving forward here. Use a charge beam shot and hit it if you can. Otherwise, we're just going to keep on moving forward here. Not a whole lot else to see. You're going to have your first retracting door switch to hit, which we got on the fall down, which is pretty nice. Keep on moving, and we're going to have a couple enemies here that will give super missiles upon killing every single time. One charge shot will take them out pretty nicely. Keep on running on through. We're going to have one more to take out right about here. Bust your super missile out, and we're through the next part of the game in Brinstar. So this section right here is going to be one you're going to become quite familiar with. You're going to go through it probably 2 to 3 times throughout the course of this run. First time, obviously, now. You're going to backtrack through it at least once, if not twice, and you'll see what I mean a little bit later in the game here. To take out these enemies, obviously, as I'm sure you know, when you fall in the water, it affects how high you can jump. Thankfully, it didn't matter right here. Now, right here, this is where you're going to get the spazer beam, and obviously, don't do what I just did. But this is going to be your first test of wall jumping here, unless you have the high jump boots, which you could come back with later, but trust me, it's better to just get the spazer now and make life a lot easier on yourself. So practice the wall jumping. If you're not that good with it, this is a good time to practice with it. If not, obviously, nothing to worry about. Go through, there's your spazer, which is basically a triple shot and will deal significantly more damage than a standard regular shot, even with a charge. So thankfully we got the spazer now. Come on back through, you're going to drop a bomb right where you came through in this little tunnel. You're going to fall on down. Now this section here can actually kill you if you're not paying attention. You can get sucked in by that thing into the water. I actually have had a run ended right there in that spot once because I just wasn't paying attention. I got killed by the spore spawn thing, and I got sucked in and just choked out by the plant underwater. So be very careful of that coming out of that ceiling hole. I'm going to keep on moving forward. Now over to the right there is a way to get to Kraid right there, but without the high jump boots it's basically impossible unless you are a master at wall jumping. So we're going to forget about that right now. And we're going to move down into Norfair. We're going to go all the way down to the far left. There will be a door we're going to bust open where we're going to get the high jump boots and some other things, of course. And right through this pink door, use your missiles, bust it open, and you're going to run across your second energy tank right here. So go ahead and pick it up. Going to keep on moving on through, and the high jump boots will be right immediately to the left in another door here. So nice couple things to see. Keep on moving on through. Also, you see a missile pickup up there. You can't really get it right now until you get the high jump boots. Just keep on moving on through. And there they are right down here. The high jump boots, while technically not necessary to finish the run, I would highly recommend getting, especially for an average run, average gamer like us. So we're going to pick these up. We're going to go right on back on through. Now don't jump up here just yet. You're going to see why. The door that we came in here is solid steel, and it will not open until you kill this enemy here. Some doors and some rooms will not open until all enemies are killed, and this is one of them. So go ahead and come back up, get that nice little missile pickup. I think we're up to 20, maybe 25 missiles if we had a full stock of them. Blast on through, and there we are. We got the high jump boots. And for right now, that's all we're going to worry about with Norfair. We're going to go back up into Brinstar, and we're going to take care of Kraid right now. Now, Kraid, I got to say, is a lot tougher in the NES game than he is in this game right here, but you're going to see exactly why if you've never played this game. Pretty simplistic boss in a boss fight. We're going to come back up through this elevator shaft, and we're going to bust out our super missiles. Shoot, make sure you duck before you shoot, or you will waste one. We did it earlier in our Brinstar run. And here we go. The high jump boots make it very easy to get up there. And we're going to keep on moving on through. Just kill these enemies. Very simple. Some of them will drop super missiles, which are nice to have. You don't need to have super missiles to get through this next part of the level, although there is one that you need, because as I'm sure you know, anytime you come up to a boss corridor, there will be an eyeball that can only be killed by means of a super missile. So make sure you have at least one in your arsenal before you come on through it. And you certainly do. We're getting up into that area now, and you're going to see the music is about to change. Go ahead and take out these enemies. Having the spazer makes it much easier to kill them. And you're going to have a little mini Kraid underling here. Just take it out. The spazer is very nice. And this is the penultimate room we're about to approach right before Kraid. This is a good chance to make sure you got full missiles and super missiles. Use that spawn point right there if you need to. Switch over to super missiles. Blast that eye right in the eye, as if you could shoot it anywhere else. And here we are. We are now in Kraid's domain. You just have to wait for him to appear wherever he comes from. He's going to come right out of the spikes, do our little dance. And eventually we're going to shoot him, and we're going to fire a super missile right into his mouth here. Just going to do the same thing you're seeing right here. So I tried to fire 2 because it actually is possible to, I don't know about kill him outright, but get double the damage if you can get 2 super missiles into his mouth. I have done it before and have gotten a quick kill, but it's extremely rare. So just make sure that you do it. Get at least 1 super missile when you're down there. Fire the rest off, and if you're good and you got some luck and you're fast about it, you can kill Kraid with 2 to 3 super missiles. Unfortunately, we are not having a... Oh, happened to block that one there, so now we got to resort to using regular missiles. Not that big of a deal, but it's just going to extend our fight here by a couple of seconds. Not my best run on Kraid, obviously, but hey, it's not the worst either, so I will take it. Pick up what you need to, go through this next door, and we are going to encounter the next upgrade for Samus, that of course being the Varia suit. So the Varia suit, if you're not aware, it basically allows you to go into Norfair, and you're not going to be able to take damage when you're in that area, which is nice. Now, you will still take damage from lava. You take damage from lava no matter what suit you have, unless it's the light lava. The darker lava, you're going to be damaged no matter what, but you'll see what I mean as we get closer and deeper into Norfair here. I'm going to continue moving on back, a little bit of backtracking. So now that we have Kraid dead, the next objective here is to traverse into Norfair, and we have to get some upgrades that are needed in order to go into the next area of the game to complete our second main boss, that being Phantoon, which is in the wrecked ship. But before we can get there, as I said, we're going to go back into Norfair. We have quite a few weapon upgrades and suit pickups to obtain before we can enter the wrecked ship. Off the top of my head, we have the Wave Beam, the Speed Booster, the Ice Beam, and then also the Grappling Beam, but you're going to see all those in a few moments here. Now, these enemies here are kind of annoying. You don't have to come in here, but this is where you're going to get one of the energy tanks, and considering every energy tank is optimized for this particular run, yes, you do want to come in here and get it. Most speedrunners will opt to skip this one because there is another energy tank that is more optimized for their route. But we are going to get this one because honestly it's not that far off and it is on the way. So go ahead and pick it up and we're going to continue onward here. So we have 3 energy tanks and we're going to get at least double that by the time we're all said and done and we're ready to fight Ridley, which is by far the toughest part of this run. If you can get by Ridley, you can beat this challenge, I promise you. But that is going to be the gatekeeper, no doubt about it. So now we're going back down into Norfair for the second time here, and it won't be the last. But we're going to come down on through, and the next thing we're going to worry about doing is going in here to the right, and we're going to worry about obtaining a few different items that we talked about earlier. The first of them is going to be the Wave Beam, and you're going to see that shortly here. Now, normally the Wave Beam cannot be obtained by normal means unless you have the Grappling Beam. However, if you are good with wall jumping, as I certainly am, at least to a certain extent, then you'll be able to get it. And honestly, it's not as difficult as it might seem. If you have the basic instincts and you have the basic understanding of wall jumping, then you too can also get the Wave Beam, and it's going to save you a lot of time on your run. I wouldn't say it's necessary to get the Wave Beam first. You could probably get under 2 hours without doing this way, but if you know how to do it, why not do it and save yourself some time here? It's not that tricky. Make sure you have at least 1 super missile for that door before coming through, by the way. I have come to this point in the game at least once without one, and I had to spend a lot of time backtracking to get 1 damn super missile. It was quite annoying. So lesson learned, if you're going to run this, have a super missile. And there's a couple times where that will come into play, by the way. So we get through that section, not too bad, not too tricky. And we're into the next part of Norfair here, and this is going to be a branching path. You could go down to the next part, but before we do, let's go over this way, bust through the floor, and you're going to have a missile pickup down here. Why get it now? Well, it's right there. So let's go ahead and get it. It's very simple. Missiles at this point in the game are going to be very critical for the upcoming Crocomire sub-boss fight. You want to make sure that you have those. You don't necessarily have to have a large supply of them, but it's going to make the fight a lot easier unless you enjoy using the charge beam, and I certainly don't. And you'll see why as we come up to it here. So now that we have that missile pickup, bomb on through. Don't worry about taking damage here. Just keep on bombing, smashing through. And you're going to come to this section here. You're going to take out the lower door on the bottom and continue on to the next section. Just keep on moving down, down, down. And eventually we're going to come to a pathway that's going to let us get to the next section where we can get some pickups and armor and items here. So let's keep on moving. You're going to have a possibly tricky section here with enemies coming out of the fire and enemies that could really ruin your day. But that's not going to happen here. We're just going to wait for them to pop up before you jump. Most players are just going to assume you can jump up over the ceiling on top of them, but the enemies will grow all the way to the ceiling with you, and it will totally ruin your day. Here you got 1, 2, 3 small jumps, roll underneath, and you're going to blow up and go all the way up here, and it's going to lead you to the next section here. Don't worry about killing those things. Don't waste your ammo. Just go straight on ahead. Now you're going to have some platforms that are going to fly over the lava here. Just get on the platform, duck down. Pretty simplistic stuff. You will have a wall that comes out from the ceiling. Don't try to go underneath it. Just wait for it. It only takes a couple of seconds. This platform will drop eventually, so just be very careful. Come up and over. And we are now back into this branching divergent area, almost. Here you're going to have some enemies that come out of the floor. Blow them up, take them out if you need to. Go ahead and get some energy refills, maybe some missiles. You're going to go through this pink door here, so blast it open. And this pathway right here is going to lead us to the wave beam pretty soon. So basically, you have a big open area with platforms that I fell through because I was not even paying attention at this point in the game. So now I got to waste about, 10 to 15 seconds getting back up here. Not that big of a deal, but it is what it is. Still very annoying. All right, take 2, here we go. Hit the platforms, watch out for the fireball here, let it pass. As soon as that one comes down all the way, shoot this thing, be very careful there, get your pickups. Now right about here, this is where you're going to be very close to the wave beam. Wall jumping is critical here. You're going to have spikes, you're going to jump down. Without the grappling beam, you will take damage here, so be very careful. Make sure you understand wall jumping just like that. And you're going to come up through this door, and here we are. This is the wave beam pickup. So congratulations, we just saved how many minutes not having to come back here with the grappling beam. And is it that big of a deal? Yes, it is. The wave beam will do significantly more damage than just the spazer beam. By the way, getting back, just do this. Come down. Yeah, you're going to take a hit, but just drop through the floor. Much easier than worried about going through that garbage again. So we're going to come all the way through, all the way up. Kill some enemies if you need to. Just keep on moving through. Most of these enemies now are only going to take, a couple shots less than they normally would. Might as well kill this thing while we're here. Why not? Just keep on going. Now we're back into this diverging pathway, and now we're going to have item number 2 of 4. By the way, those things will almost always give you super missiles, so if you needed one for whatever reason, there you go. Take care of these little bat things here. Go all the way up, all the way, all the way. You're going to go through this door to the right, and just hold in the mini dash button. Don't let go of it like I'm about to do right here. I don't know why, it was just testing. Just hold it in. And yeah, for whatever reason, I did let go of boost here and I fell down in the lava. I think I did that because I was trying to switch to my missiles while I was dashing midway. Yeah, unless you got a really good handle on the controls, don't do that. But now we've got the speed booster, which is the most critical and crucial piece of equipment, in my opinion, in the entire game, because it's going to allow you to get through areas of the game much, much quicker than normal, and in some cases access parts of the game you couldn't normally access. So dash back up, keep shooting as you do it, and as you come through this room, check out what happens right here. Boom! Blitzkrieg! Take everything you need right there. And now it's just a matter of backtracking here. We're going to backtrack all the way to the original Norfair shaft where we first came in here. And once we get there, we're going to worry about picking up the ice beam. By the way, there's a green door there. You could go through it if you want to, but it's nothing that you really need. I think it's a missile upgrade, and we've already got enough missiles at this point to get through to Crocomire. But we're not going to worry about that quite yet. So as I said, a little bit of backtracking. A lot easier now that we have the wave beam to kill some of these enemies here. But to save you the suffering of having to watch this, we're going to skip through, and I'll see you when we're back there. Okay, out of hyperdrive we come, and we are at the last part of what I will deem part 1 in this challenge playthrough here, because we're coming up on 30 minutes if we're not there already. So blast through the green door here, hold in dash, you're going to zoom right through with the speed booster. Keep on going. You're going to come to this little corridor here, almost. Go ahead and jump over all these fire pits. You could use the platform, but why would you want to when you can just jump right over them? So do that. Don't worry about these enemies here, just fly up, up, and over. If you take a hit, not a big deal. Eventually you will be able to freeze them once we get the ice beam, but until that happens, go up, don't go through that door, bomb down, shoot down, whatever you need to do, turn into a ball, and you're going to go through this tight little corridor here, through this door, and right over here, you're going to see the ice beam. Wow, we've got 4 of the original 5 beams within the first 30 minutes or less of the game. That's pretty good timing, I've got to say. So basically, we're going to get back over to the Norfair shaft, and we're going to call it good for this first part of the playthrough here. So we'll walk you back out, because there is still a little bit of playing to go yet. We're not quite done with this section. Freeze the enemies if you want to avoid potentially getting shot. Come up through this area, through the doorway. We're going to have another fire area here. So as you come through here, you're going to have enemies coming out of the fire. Shoot them to make ice blocks. Blast them. Come over through. You can shoot this if you want to, or just jump across. Not a big deal no matter how you choose to do it. You're going to come down here, and you're basically 1 room away from getting back to the Norfair elevator shaft. Here we go. 1 little quick area. Eventually, we will be coming back here with a power bomb, because we need to get here to go to Crocomire, but we're not quite ready for that yet. So jump all the way up, take this elevator. That's it for now. We'll see you in part 2 of this playthrough. Take care, everyone.